All right, today we're diving into what I think is the absolute bedrock of any successful project, functional requirements. Seriously, think of them as the architectural blueprint for your big idea. You wouldn't build a house without one, right? Without this, you're pretty much building on sand. So let's dive in.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a project that had this amazing, brilliant concept, but somewhere along the way, it just completely fell apart? It got confusing, it didn't do what you expected it to do. You know the feeling. Why does that happen so often?
Well, it usually comes down to this exact contrast right here. Every project kicks off as the dream, you know? It's purposeful, it's crystal clear, everything feels cohesive. But without that solid foundation, it can slide into the reality, fast. That's where the design starts to drift, the whole thing gets bloated with features nobody asked for, and the project just ends up feeling, well, confused.
So, how do we keep the dream alive? How do we stop that slide into chaos? The answer is all about defining the do, and that brings us right to our main question. What is a functional requirement anyway?
Okay, here's the textbook definition, and honestly, it's a really good one. A functional requirement spells out exactly what the system must do. Notice that word, must. This isn't a suggestion box. It's a non-negotiable list of actions, features, and behaviors that are essential to solving the user's problem. It's basically the contract between your idea and the final product.
To make this a little less abstract, just think about the apps you use every day. A search bar? That's a functional requirement. The ability to create a profile? Yep, that too. Submitting a form or even just basic navigation, getting from one screen to another. These are all fundamental must-dos for the user.
And this is the most important part, and it's where a lot of teams get tripped up. A functional requirement is not just saying, we need a login feature. Not at all. It's about defining precisely how that login feature is going to behave in every single situation you can think of.
So let's stick with that login example. First, what happens if the user types in the wrong password? The requirement has to say, the system will respond with a clear error message. What about usability? Can the user toggle the password to see what they're typing? That's a behavior you have to define. And what if the network is slow? You have to plan for that too. Defining this whole chain of events from the user's point of view is what makes these requirements so incredibly powerful.
Okay, so you've put in the work, you've defined all these detailed requirements. What's the payoff? You get the incredible power of a real plan. One that gives your project a laser-like purpose and an unwavering focus.
First off, it's your ultimate weapon against that design drift we were talking about. When someone comes up with a cool new idea mid-project, you don't just throw it in. You ask a simple question. Does this support our core functional requirements? If the answer is no, you stay the course. These requirements become your project's North Star.
And that leads right into this. It stops you from building a bloated product. Every single feature has to justify its existence by tying back to a specific requirement that solves a real user need. It acts as a filter, making sure you only build what is absolutely essential. No more, no less.
And here's another huge win. You get measurable expectations. Your team isn't left guessing what done is supposed to look like. The prototype is finished when it can successfully do everything spelled out in the requirements. It's black and white, it's actionable, and now everybody is aiming for the exact same target.
But the impact here goes way beyond just the project itself. It fundamentally changes how your team works together. Because, really, functional requirements are the secret key to getting everyone on the same page.
This quote from the material we looked at just nails it. A unified understanding. That's the entire game right there. When every single person on the team is working from the same blueprint, that's when the magic really starts to happen.
And I mean everyone. Designers know exactly what user actions they need to design for. Developers have a clear roadmap for the logic they need to build. And the testers? They've got a perfect checklist to make sure the final product actually works as intended. It becomes the single source of truth for the entire team.
Because without that plan, you just get chaos. You get misinterpretations, where what the designer imagined is totally different from what the developer built. You get inconsistency, you get confusion. But with a plan, you get clarity, you get cohesion, and you get some serious efficiency. The whole team just moves in sync.
So let's bring this all full circle. Your functional requirements are not some dusty document that sits on a server somewhere. No, they are the living, breathing blueprint for all the tangible work that comes next. Your wireframes, your user flows, and of course, the prototype itself.
At the end of the day, this is the transformation we're really talking about. Functional requirements are the bridge. They're what take you from a fuzzy, abstract idea in your head and turn it into a concrete set of tangible, buildable components.
So, I'll leave you with this to think about. For whatever project you're working on right now, what is the single most critical function? That one core action that you absolutely need to define first. Figure that out, and you'll be on your way to building on a solid foundation. Thanks for watching.